For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
For the Record, also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way, products and services for better public health.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Monday, the 10th day of August 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a peaceful, restful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, and we continue to see an increasing number increasing numbers on the roads of the Cayman Islands, increasing numbers of pedestrians, increasing numbers of cyclists, increasing numbers of persons operating motorized vehicles on the road of the Cayman Islands. So with that increase in numbers, it is even more important that you, the road users of the Cayman Islands, ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Because you always want to remember, by observing the rules of the road, the life you save may just be your own. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are always open. There's always someone there waiting to take your calls. 9 times, maybe 9.5 times out of 10, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. So you can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Of course, if you don't like to talk on the telephone, then you email us at For the Record, one word, For the Record, for one word, For the Record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us at 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, or you can simply follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. So for those of you who celebrated a birthday over the weekend, we want to wish you a belated happy birthday, or if you're celebrating one today, then certainly I want to wish you a happy birthday as well. And again, those who have lost loved ones over the past few days, past few weeks, we again want to extend our sincere condolences to you. And we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. I spoke earlier about the increase and the increase in traffic on the roads of the Cayman Islands, and with that increase, we're starting to see more accidents being reported. in the Cayman Islands as well. And unfortunately, last week or in the weekend, one of those turned out to be a fatal accident as well. So again, to that family, we want to extend our sincere condolences as well. But it is extremely, extremely important for us to be very, very conscious and cautious on the roads of the Cayman Islands, because we see an increase in the amount of traffic. Again, we see persons simply not adhering to the rules of the road, and excessive speeding. Again, this morning there was a free-for-all coming down from the eastern end of the island. Vehicles just racing along. That doesn't help anyone at all, and in many instances it doesn't help you to get any quicker to your destination as well. Lots of things we can talk about this morning, and of course we await the publication of the domestic partnership bill. Eagerly await that to see exactly what it will contain, whether it will be the identical bill that was sent down to the Legislative Assembly, and the input then from the public will be directed towards that version that was debated in the Legislative Assembly. There are some who think otherwise, based on their interpretation of the governor's notification or statement made by the governor. But so we will wait and we will see. Of course, I like to share with you things that happen in the Cayman Islands. And Thursday, this would have been a Thursday in 1967, the 10th of August, 1967. 10th of August, 2020 is on a Monday. The 10th of August, 1967 was on a Thursday. And there was an editorial in the Tradewinds newspaper, and it has to do with the marriage laws in the Cayman Islands. And I think it is extremely timely for me to share that with you, because while it doesn't have anything in it about domestic partnership, it does speak to either the lack of knowledge of our marriage laws at the time, or simply whether it was ignored. Remember now, this is 1967. So the editorial reads, ever so often a decision from a courthouse arouses public interest. This has been particularly so since the advent of our new law book in March of this year, and this year was 1967. Yet nothing has so adversely affected so many persons as a recent disclosure from our marriage laws. Apparently, over the years, numerous Caymanians who went through the process of a wedding and thought themselves to be legally married have actually founded their homes and reared their children on illegal grounds. Oh. According to certain aspects of the Cayman Islands marriage laws, a couple with either party under the age of 16 years cannot, under any circumstances, contract a legal marriage. Yet, great numbers have had matrimony read by marriage officers who apparently had not the slightest regard or knowledge concerning the laws in connection with the duties they performed. This disclosure, to say the least, has placed some persons in an embarrassing position. Also, in another category are those 16 to under 21 who have been married without the written consent of parents, as is the requirement, and the much overlooked requirement of due publication of marriage banns before posting. For those of you who don't know what a marriage bans is, I don't know if you still have to do it these days, I don't think so, but on a public building or a public notice board, you had the marriage officer would publish the notification of parties to be married. The popular place for that is where the museum is now located, the old courthouse on the waterfront right next, well, I guess it's opposite the South Terminal and the old courthouse there. And it was not unusual for you to go on the notice board there and you see marriage bans. So it seems as if many people were overlooking even to duly publish the marriage bans as well. So the editorial goes on to say, it seems that any marriage officer who has been neglecting the observation of the laws should buckle down to learning them. It is not enough to be married in the eyes of God. Caymanians must be married according to the laws of the land, and not the least of the reasons is for the proper protection, which is the inheritance of a child of a legal marriage, but not bestowed on others. And that part is interesting also, about inheritance and the child of a legal marriage being able to obtain inheritance from their parent, but that wasn't bestowed on others being illegitimate children. And we saw where the succession law was amended several years ago to ensure that children born out of wedlock were not shared out or cut out of their inheritance as well. But here we were in 1967. 1967, 53 years ago, looks like. We were discussing the marriage law. Now, what happened in terms of this editorial was that the Grand Court in the Cayman Islands had declared a marriage null and void because the party at that time was under the age of 16. So, and that actually that article was carried in the same issue of the newspaper, and I'll share that with you, but I will not. I will omit the name of the parties involved in it, but I will share that with you. And it basically reads divorce proceedings between Party A and Party B ended on August the 1st. Party A filed a petition against Party B for cruelty, and Party B filed a petition against Party A for adultery, naming someone else as the correspondent. During the course of the hearing, it was disclosed by evidence that at the time of the marriage on the 23rd of March, 1963, Party A was only 14 years and 9 months of age, having been born on the 1st of June, 1948. As a result, the petition and cross-petition was withdrawn by Party A's representative, Mr. Robert Lake of the firm of Lake, Nunes, and Schofield, and he filed a substitute petition on the grounds of a nullity due to the fact that the marriage laws of the Cayman Islands, that under the marriage laws of the Cayman Islands, Party A could not have contracted a marriage at that age. The court granted a decree nisi on the grounds of a nullity. There was no order as to cause, and Mr. Carl Rattray appeared on behalf of Party B, and W.S. Walker appeared for the person who was named as the third party in the case of adultery. Like I said, I would not call names, even though this is was at that time a public record, but I'm not looking for to give you any sensational news here. I'm just simply bringing to your attention what the marriage law in the Cayman Islands at that time said. Of course, there are lots of connections and lots of discussion about the marriage law in the Cayman Islands these days as well, and hopefully some of that discussion will take place today as well. Folks, time for us to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Annie Elizabeth Bush, Certificate of Honor, 1901 to 1994. Annie was an enterprising young lady who learned to play the organ at an early age, and for many years was organist at the George Hicks Memorial Church in South Sound. She also taught her niece to play, and she eventually took over Annie's duties. Annie always wanted to be a nurse. She studied first aid under the tutelage of the late Mrs. Andrews. She worked as a practical nurse for many years at both new and old Georgetown hospitals, and also a theater nurse. After retirement, she did private nursing. She was a good seamstress and did a lot of crochet. She left her family a large crochet of the Lord's Prayer.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central supports our National Gallery, now open free to the public, providing access to healing, renewal, and reflection through the arts. An opportunity to visit, to traverse Cayman Memory Lane, heritage, faces, places, voices, fabric, glimpsing a wider dimension of who we are, where we have come from. Join us at the National Gallery. You will see the Island of Women exhibition featuring 26 local artists exploring invaluable contributions that Caymanian women have made to developing Caymanian society. See the remarkable Bendel Heights Acquisition Showcase. Bendel is our Picasso. View salt water in their veins, a new exhibition featuring 45 local artists as they explore Cayman's legendary relationship with the oceans of the world. The National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. 8 exhibitions currently on show between Cayman Brac, Grand Cayman, and virtual tours online. The National Gallery in full compliance with safe distance and health requirements. Book your visit in advance to avoid waiting for entry. Call 945-8111. Rotary Central and the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, supporting wellness, healing in reflection. Rotary opens opportunities.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern, recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. 122 Industrial Way, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers and stay prepared. 949-2511. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
It's the Tempur-Pedic and Sealy Summer of Sleep mattress sale. On now at Brand Source Home Gallery. Tempur Adapt Hybrid Queen mattress now just $19.99. Save $500 on all Tempur Breeze mattresses. Save $200 on all Sealy Hybrid mattresses. Check out Brand Source Home Gallery's wide selection of Tempur-Pedic and Sealy mattresses and enjoy savings during the Summer of Sleep sale. On now at Brand Source Home Gallery. Visit us at 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000 for more information.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have no guests in the studio yet. I think at 8:30 we're going to be talking about International Youth Day, and we'll either have guests in the studio or we will have them on the phone line with us. Here's an email from Friday, and came in about 8:30. Or it's showing here as 8:30 now, but sometimes emails may be delayed coming in. I certainly didn't see it on Friday, and if I had, I would have shared it at that point in time, but it doesn't hurt to read it now and to discuss it if time allows as well. It says, morning, my read of Section 81 of the Constitution, that is the Cayman Islands Constitution, is that the governor can use his reserved powers in relation to matters for which he is responsible under Section 55 of the Constitution. On reading Section 55 of the Constitution, I don't see where he is responsible for such legislation. Please, can the leader of the opposition say whether the opposition are in agreement with the governor, are in agreement that the governor does have the power to bring this legislation under his reserve power in Section 81. If so, please read the section of the Constitution that gives him this power, noting that the governor did specifically state Section 81, which also references Section 55? If not, is it their intention to challenge this? Please can this be discussed further, as it is vital for the public to understand this. I believe that there is no question whatsoever in terms of the governor's ability as to what he did, and I think we can get into the technical issues in relation to it, but bear in mind this constitutional order that we have crafted in as a result of negotiations and discussions with both sides, the UK, the Cayman Islands government at the time, as well as the opposition. And there is no doubt in terms of what Section 81 was intended to achieve, what it was intended to do, and bearing in mind that the other option was still there, Section 125 in our Constitution as well. So I think that in this particular case, if we go down this road of argument, we're really grasping at straws. What is extremely important now, and I will say this, is that when that bill is published today, and those 21 days that are given for people to have input, that you really want to take advantage of that opportunity to provide input. Does it make sense to you to provide input that complains about what was done? You want to provide input that reflects what you would like to see in the legislation. If you don't want the legislation to go forward at all, maybe you can do that as well. But for those who realize that come what may, the legislation is going to be put into effect, then this is your opportunity to at least have your say. Because bear in mind that those who are in favor of what is being done are certainly going to take advantage of that opportunity. And it is quite possible at the end of the day that what comes out in that new legislation may way surpass what the current piece of legislation has. So we don't want to sit down, you don't want to sit down and beat your gums about it. Offer constructive, realistic, offer your make sure that your contributions, what you're putting forward is realistic and makes sense at the end of the day. Just simply don't go out there and beat your gums about it. There are organized entities in the Cayman Islands, like the Cayman Islands Ministers Association. I'm sure those who have the wherewithal to obtain legal assistance in terms of their presentations, written presentations, can do so as well. This is an opportunity. Remember, bear in mind that if the governor had felt that there was some urgency, real urgency to what needed to be done, this consultation and this opportunity for input did not necessarily have to be extended as well. So very important for you if you want to have your say, not saying that's going to be taken into consideration, but at least you're given the opportunity. You should take advantage of that, folks. Top of the hour. 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
Need food on the go? Make it both easy and delicious with Bay Market Cafe. With hundreds of daily menu items from Asian wok and fresh pasta to house-made sushi and vegan burgers, you'll find exactly what you're craving. Top your meal off with local kombucha on tap, a freshly squeezed OJ, or fresh green juice available at the coffee and juice bar. Get something for everyone, all from one place.
Bay Market Cafe, located within Foster's Camana Bay. Order online for express pickup in-store at baymarket.ky.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Pedro St. James invites you to their new Movies on the Lawn event. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins has the details.
We're thrilled to present some previously played or aired movies on the lawn. It's a free event, free movie event, and you can come out, bring your families, bring a blanket or a chair, and just kind of lay out, spread out on the lawn, so to speak, and just watch a nice movie under the stars.
Marketing coordinator Mona Mead says the evening is an opportunity for families to bond and do something a little different.
What we're trying to do here at Pedro is kind of give back to the community, allow for people who are hard hit to still have family time outside of the house. With this pandemic, wallets are a little bit less full, and we want to just make sure that we can offer something that the community can enjoy together as a family experience with all family movies.
COVID regulations are in place for the safety of every family who visits.
Only right now manage 50 people. Right now we can hold about 50 groupings of people that are 8 feet apart. While people come through the gift shop to enter Pedro, they'll have to wear masks while they're in the public spaces. And then once they move out onto the lawn, they can remove their masks and just stay within their family bubble and enjoy the movie.
The first film on the lawn is sci-fi comedy classic Men in Black on August 11th. For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For more information, call 947-3329 or email admin@pedrostjames.ky. With lockdown no longer a necessity, the Department of Environment says 171 registered cullers have now resumed their efforts to help stamp out the invasive species of green iguanas. As of July 27th, a total of 92,000 culled iguanas have been registered at the culling station, bringing the total number since the program started in October 2018 to more than 1.2 million. The DOE's annual Green Iguana Island-wide survey is also out, which aims to provide valuable insights into the impact of culling, while allowing the DOE research team to plan future efforts to bring the invasive species to a long-term manageable level. You're encouraged to check out DOE.ky for more details on the survey. In regional news, on Sunday, Jamaica recorded another COVID-related death, pushing their total tally to 14. The deceased was a 37-year-old St. Catherine man. Meanwhile, there were 20 new positive cases reported, increasing their total to 1,023. The Health Ministry of Jamaica says there are now 206 active cases. Recoveries are at 745. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Debbie Russ. The newly re-elected president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, has said he'll not allow the country to be torn apart by what he called foreign-inspired agitators. He said police officers responded when they were deliberately targeted during a night of violent protests against alleged vote rigging. The Interior Ministry said there were more than 3,000 arrests and nearly 100 injuries. There's been defiance and anger in Hong Kong following the arrest of the pro-democracy activist and media tycoon Jimmy Lai. He's been detained under the territory's new national security law for suspected collusion with foreign powers. Executives at Apple Daily, the newspaper owned by Mr. Lai, promised to continue publishing. China has imposed sanctions on 11 US citizens, saying they had behaved shockingly on Hong Kong-related issues. 5 US senators were among those sanctioned. Another person on the list was the director of Human Rights Watch, Kenneth Roth. The U.S. Health Secretary Alex Azar has praised Taiwan's democratic credentials during the highest-level American visit to the island in years. The trip has angered China. A BBC investigations reveal that some staff in Ghana's hospitals have been selling personal protective equipment for personal profit. One hospital pharmacy worker was filmed selling hundreds of dollars worth of gowns and face shields. He's now been suspended. An Algerian journalist has been jailed in a high-profile court case that was seen as a test of press freedom in the country. Khaled Drareni was given a 3-year sentence. He'd been accused of endangering national security after he covered anti-government protests. He'd argued he'd just been doing his job. That's the latest world news from the BBC.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Whether it's formal wear and suits, bridal and suit rental, uniforms, tailoring and alterations, window treatment, including curtains and valances, or fabric and beautiful accessories, Creative Fashion and Design is taking fashion to the next level and has it all for you. And if your creative juices are flowing and you want to learn to sew, let Creative Fashion and Design show you how. Register today for beginners and advanced sewing classes. Not forgetting the young ones. They too can register for our Sewing Summer Camp, July 27th to August 21st. Creative Fashion and Design, located upstairs Tropical Plaza, Unit number 8. For more information, call Norma at 949-0034 or email info@creativefashionanddesign.com.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Cistern water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use after a hurricane. Simply leave the water for 1 minute after it begins to boil, or to disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 86%. The barometric pressure 29.97 inches and rising. The wind is northeast at 5 knots. Overnight low temperature was 83 degrees. Synopsis indicate light to moderate winds and seas are expected across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a result of a moderate pressure gradient across the Caribbean. The forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures will be in the low 90s. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of nighttime showers, and temperatures will fall to the upper 70s. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's low tide will be at 8:22 this morning, high tide this afternoon at 3:37, and a low tide again tonight at 9:37. The sun will set this evening at 6:55 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Superstitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Superstitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Superstitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening on our roads. Coming from the Eastern Shamrock Road, traffic is steady but flowing, as well as on the Linford Pearson Highway. Moderate flow of traffic on Eastern Avenue and Godfrey Nixon Way. And no issues on Edward Street as traffic flowing nicely. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive. Coming from the West Bay four-way stop, moderate flow of traffic. And traffic is moderate in both directions on the West Bay Road. Little steady traffic on North Sound Road, some sections. Other sections of North Sound Road, moderate flow of traffic. Now, if you see any accidents or incidents happening on Cayman's roads, give us a call here at Radio Cayman, 949-6990. And as we look to Crew Road, steady but flowing traffic. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 for another look at traffic.
Our subs made your way with multiple ordering and delivery options. Subway is making it easy for you to enjoy your favorite sandwiches, pizzas, and salads by offering delivery until 10 p.m. from West Bay to Boddentown. $5 delivery fee, no minimum order. Call the Subway location nearest to you or simply WhatsApp your order to 929-4658. You can also order Subway from Let's Eat or the Bento app, or visit our Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, West Shore Center, Industrial Park, East End, Windham, and Countryside Shopping Village. Visit Subway Cayman's Facebook and Instagram page for current store hours. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Hey, hun, what you doing?
Putting things away in the shed since it's hurricane season. You know, preparing for the better.
Don't you mean preparing for the worst?
No, for the better. Since we have Brit-K Insurance, we're fully covered against hurricanes. Plus, they have response teams ready to help us file a claim faster. If I were preparing for the worst, I'd watch football all day.
Still don't get it.
Isn't there a match on?
Oh, really?
Let Brit-K prepare you for the better this hurricane season. Call 949-8699 or visit britk.ky.
Rotary Central supports our National Gallery, now open free to the public, providing access to healing, renewal, and reflection through the arts. An opportunity to visit, to traverse Cayman Memory Lane, heritage, faces, places, voices, fabric, glimpsing a wider dimension of who we are, where we have come from. Join us at the National Gallery. You will see the Island of Women exhibition featuring 26 local artists exploring invaluable contributions that Caymanian women have made to developing Caymanian society. See the remarkable Bendel Heights Acquisition Showcase. Bendel is our Picasso. View salt water in their veins. A new exhibition featuring 45 local artists as they explore Cayman's legendary relationship with the oceans of the world. The National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. 8 exhibitions currently on show between Cayman Brac, Grand Cayman, and virtual tours online. The National Gallery in full compliance with safe distance and health requirements. Book your visit in advance to avoid waiting for entry. Call 945-8111. Rotary Central and the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, supporting wellness, healing in reflection. Rotary opens opportunities.
4 SUVs, 3 saving options, and lots of reasons you should head to the summer SUV sale now at Vamp Motors. Looking for a Ford SUV with great safety ratings? Save up to $8,000 on a new Edge and $2,000 on a new Escape. Need to accommodate an active family lifestyle? Save up to $5,000 on a 7-seater Toyota Rush. Want a fuel-efficient SUV with sporty style? Save up to $2,000 on the Toyota CHR Hybrid. Get cash back, take the full discount, or upgrade your new SUV during our summer SUV sale, where you can save up to $8,000. The summer SUV sale, Vamp Motors, Walkers Road.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters, For the Record, with Orrett Connor, continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests yet, so we have other messages that are coming in, and I'll share those with you. And I want to remind you that the phone lines are open as well. Toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. So this person has written and said, good morning. Does the government plan on doing anything with the recommendations of the Transportation Committee to ease the vehicular traffic and congestion, which have both increased to levels prior to the lockdown? For example, staggered time or shift, flex time, alternate working days, and working from home where possible. Good question, and I think this is an opportune time not only for government to consider this, but also for the private sector as well. Now, what we don't want to happen, we shouldn't see the loss of jobs. We wouldn't want to see the loss of jobs, especially Caymanian jobs in the Cayman Islands as a result of any changes. But certainly, I am sure that there are many organizations who now realize that it can be just as productive working from home as it is productive working from an office setting. So this is, again, an opportunity for us to reset everything, recalibrate, and look at other options as well. As far as the roads are concerned, I think still one of the major steps that has to be taken is controlling the importation of cars into the Cayman Islands. Not just limiting the age of the vehicle, but the number of vehicles, who will be allowed to import vehicles into this country, because we cannot allow persons who come here on a temporary basis to leave a heavy burden on us in terms of disposal, even though the government does collect a fee when in regards to disposal and the long-term negative effect that the disposal of these vehicles locally will have on us here in the Cayman Islands. So yes, it is something that we have an opportunity to look at right now. It's the same opportunity that we have to look at getting those Caymanians who are unemployed employed in the Cayman Islands, because so many foreign workers have left the islands, work permit holders have left the islands. And before we start to let them back in, we at least to grant new work permits, we really need to take a serious look and address that, the issue of unemployed Caymanians. Any government who fails to do that during this period that we have the excellent opportunity to do so, they will fall on the wrong side of history if we fail to address the issue of unemployed Caymanians as well. Going back to the various sections of the Constitution and the governor's statement in terms of his use of Section 11 of the Constitution to publish and to bring into effect legislation. So what section, Section 81, I don't know if I said Section 11 before, Section 81. So Section 81 reads, if the governor considers the enactment of legislation is necessary or desirable with respect to or in the interest of matters, just bear with me, just want to do something here. If the governor considers that the enactment of legislation is necessary or desirable with respect to or in the interest of, and remember, I'm going to highlight that part, with respect to or in the interest of any matter for which he or she is responsible under Section 55, but after consultation with the Premier, it appears to the Governor that the Cabinet is unwilling to support the introduction into the Legislative Assembly of a bill for the purpose, or that the Legislative Assembly, or that the Assembly is unlikely to pass a bill introduced into it for the purpose, the Governor may, with the prior approval of a Secretary of State, cause a bill for the purpose to be published in a government notice, and may, notwithstanding that the bill has not been passed by the Legislative Assembly, assent to it on behalf of Her Majesty. But the bill shall be so published for at least 21 days prior to assent, unless the Governor certifies by writing under his or her hand that the matter is too urgent to permit such delay in giving of assent, and so informs the Secretary of State. So remember what I said before, maybe on Friday, that there were other options, for the governor. He didn't take the high road; he took the low road, and because the governor could have determined that the matter is so urgent that to permit such delays in the giving of assent, would be detrimental to parties involved. So he could have done otherwise. So it speaks in respect to or in the interest of a matter for which he is responsible under Section 55. Now let's look at Section 55. Section 55 reads, the governor shall be responsible for the conduct, subject to this Constitution and any other law, of any business of the government with respect to the following matters. This is Section 55.1. Defense, external affairs, subject to Sections 3 and 4, internal security, including the police, without prejudice to Section 58. Okay? So, defense, defense, B, external affairs, subject to Section 3(4). Now, Governor didn't say so in his publication. What portions of Section 55 he was doing this under? But let's look at B, external affairs. External affairs includes, and when it comes to lawyers, I'm sure that some lawyers can argue one way, other lawyers will argue another way, and at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the mediator or the judiciary to interpret and to render a decision. But the UK's international obligations fall under external affairs. That is why I believe that the governor can use, is proper in using Section 81 as read with Section 55 of the Constitution. External affairs, international obligations fall under the remit of the UK. So I'll welcome any comments in relation to that. Also, we do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Susan, I have no caller.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Hey, good morning, Doc. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I just heard you, and I want to disagree with you.
Okay.
Read 81 again from the beginning.
Okay. The governor, if the governor considers that the enactment of legislation is necessary or desirable.
Stop there.
Okay.
If the governor, what does it read again?
If the governor considers that the enactment of legislation is necessary or desirable.
That's right. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's an alternative. Or
Mm-hmm.
that's the other thing that he can do too.
Yes.
If there's anything in his portfolio, you have to get the or separates the first right that he has to enact legislation from the second right.
Okay, why don't I read the whole thing? If the governor considers that the enactment of legislation is necessary or desirable with respect to or in the interest of any matter for which he or she has responsibility under Section 55.
That way. If the governor considers that legislation is for any law.
Okay.
Read it again.
I think my reading here is that if he considers the enactment of legislation is desirable, or is it the enactment of legislation is necessary, or if the inaction of legislation is desirable.
Two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, if he thinks legislation is desirable. When you read the opening lines of the first paragraph, he has power to pass legislation if he thinks it's desirable or whatever.
Necessary, yes.
Necessary,
yes.
And then he can do it if it's with anything that he has
that falls under Section 55. Yes. Okay. And my argument there is that external affairs.
But he does not have to go to external affairs. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Got you. Okay. Anything else to add, Doc?
No. And you talked this morning about the Marriage Law 2010 revision. Now, you notice that case that you were citing this morning. That case has a lot of loopholes in it because some of the people who were bringing that case before the court didn't have any experience in the marriage law. Now that case was brought under the old marriage law that you had to prove one of the grounds for divorce. We had to prove cruelty. to get a divorce. That's gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's unreasonable behavior. You don't have to prove physical cruelty anymore to get a divorce.
Okay.
You don't have to prove unreasonable behavior now.
Uh-huh.
And if you look at the rules, they're still connected to the rules of the divorce law in Jamaica.
Okay. So the criticism seemed to have been that the persons performing marriages in the Cayman Islands did not abide by the marriage laws at that time and either ignored them or weren't aware of them.
They were not aware of them. They, or if they're aware of them, they ignored them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to the marriage law 2010 revision now, the bans are still. You can still post bans if you look in the schedule to the marriage 2010 revision. Bans are still. You can still publish bans publicly in the districts.
And you notice the names of those lawyers there: Schofield, Nunes, Rattray, big guns from Jamaica in those days.
Oh yes, but it was not necessary because all they had to avoid the marriage because the people could not have gotten married in the first place. That's what I'm trying to say.
That was the final conclusion.
But they didn't have to go to sue for cruelty and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because had they looked at the marriage law, all they would have to ask for an order that the marriage was not could not be consummated. Which the court found in the end.
Yep.
But they went through all this rigmarole and all this stuff and things like that and whatnot, suing each other. When neither of them were actually married.
Got you.
It was a void marriage from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Got you, Doc. Doc, we have to go to commercial break, and we do have another caller on hold. We're going to take that caller, and then I think we're going to connect with her guests after the break and after we take the caller. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
4 SUVs, 3 saving options, and lots of reasons you should head to the summer SUV sale now at Vamp Motors. Looking for a Ford SUV with great safety ratings? Save up to $8,000 on a new Edge and $2,000 on a new Escape. Need to accommodate an active family lifestyle? Save up to $5,000 on a 7-seater Toyota Rush. Want a fuel-efficient SUV with sporty style? Save up to $2,000 on the Toyota CHR Hybrid. Get cash back, take the full discount, or upgrade your new SUV during our summer SUV sale, where you can save up to $8,000. The summer SUV sale, Vamp Motors, Walkers Road.
This is an important announcement from Customs and Border Control. Due to a record number of imported goods and the potential for inclement weather due to hurricane season, customers are required to collect their packages as soon as possible. If you are using an agent to clear your goods, please ensure that you have completed the appointment of agent form and send it to your agent 48 hours prior to your goods arriving. For persons self-clearing goods, it will be necessary for you to log in to CBC's online portal by visiting www.cbc.gov.ky and register at least 48 hours before your shipment arrives.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We still have a caller. We're going to take that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning. We'll see. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I just want to make one simple comment. Right? Open up the eyes of people up there. Why is it that we have to call this union a marriage? Why can't we have a simple contractual agreement between the two people, providing all the benefits, blah, 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 blah? Why do we have to call it a marriage? It's the kind of thing that happens.
But it's not. Is it being called a marriage? It's it's called the Domestic Partnerships Law, but it could easily have been called the Civil Partnerships Law as well.
That's right. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying that why do we have? I noticed that everybody's using this word marriage in the context of everything.
Right. And
so we could simplify that, and then they would have the same rights. But I think it's an agenda beyond just saying that, they can get together and stuff like that. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to say also quickly is that I read the Compass, Friday's Compass, and I noticed the salaries that our legislators are making, some of the benefits they get, and hundreds of thousands of dollars that they get for different things. And I'm thinking, how is it possible? 2020, and people are still, the minimum wage is $6. You telling me that those guys indeed are making $100,000 a year, because all they're making over $100,000, can, in good conscience, not make legislation that say that poor people should be getting at least $10 an hour? Oh, see, I'm saddened by this thing, and I think the love of money has taken over our society, and I'm hoping that God will, because believe me, God is looking down on us, and somewhere in September, I'm looking for something disastrous to happen to this island. Have a good day, my friend.
Caller, thank you for that, but we don't want to create alarm by saying that we're looking for something disastrous to happen in the Cayman Islands. We always want to think on the side of positivity, not on the side of negativity. And what I would add to what you said is that if something happens in the Cayman Islands, something drastic happens in the Cayman Islands, because of our resilience, because of our God-fearing tradition, that at the end of the day we will overcome, we shall prevail, despite the fact that something natural or otherwise may occur in the Cayman Islands, that we have the strength, we have the fortitude to withstand it. That's what I would say there, rather than anything else. Ms. Susan, do we have okay? We're not ready yet. What I want to say to our listeners is that we will be discussing some issues with our guests when we do get them on the air, and after that, we will have the phone lines open. I will make some connections with some of my regular contributors For the Record, and have some discussions with them on the bill that is going to be published today. Some may want to discuss the way that it has moved forward, but eagerly awaiting. Today's the 10th. I didn't say what time of the day it would be, but published. But I would hope and trust that we will receive some press release in relation to it, because quite curious to see the bill, or which bill it is, whether or not it's the one that was defeated in the Legislative Assembly, or whether it is another bill as well. But again, what I want to remind people, that there are some who will be well organized and will have their comments, their contributions put in a coherent, presentable, well-argued fashion, and arguing the points that they want to see go forward, that they would like to see. And there are those who will just simply say, we're opposed to it. Again, I don't think that I need to remind you that at the end of the day, we're going to end up with a law that recognizes partnerships between same-sex couples. You're going to get it. So you have one of two options. You accept what you get, or you try to contribute to see whether or not your 5 cents can be heard, or 10 cents, or some people may have more skin in the game than that. They may have 90 cents into it. But to see whether or not your views will prevail and will be reflected in the new piece of legislation, because you are going to get it. Hear me out. You are going to get that legislation. So we just try to make the best of it, because so far we, in lots of instances, we're hearing people criticizing, we're hearing bashing, but no one coming up with a solution, and some people not even empathizing or sympathizing with those who differ, those who are affected by this legislation. And when I say those who are affected, I'm talking about the minority of persons in the Cayman Islands as well. We're going to take a commercial break because we do have our guests on the line, and when we return, we will have a discussion with them. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
4 SUVs, 3 saving options, and lots of reasons you should head to the summer SUV sale now at Vamp Motors. Looking for a Ford SUV with great safety ratings? Save up to $8,000 on a new Edge and $2,000 on a new Escape. Need to accommodate an active family lifestyle? Save up to $5,000 on a 7-seater Toyota Rush. Want a fuel-efficient SUV with sporty style? Save up to $2,000 on the Toyota CHR Hybrid. Get cash back, take the full discount, or upgrade your new SUV during our summer SUV sale, where you can save up to $8,000. The summer SUV sale, Vamp Motors, Walkers Road.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
It's the Tempur-Pedic and Sealy Summer of Sleep Mattress Sale. On now at Brand Source Home Gallery. Tempur Adapt Hybrid Queen Mattress now just $19.99. Save $500 on all Tempur-Breeze mattresses. Save $200 on all Sealy Hybrid mattresses. Check out Brand Source Home Gallery's wide selection of Tempur-Pedic and Sealy mattresses and enjoy savings during the Summer of Sleep Sale. On now at Brand Source Home Gallery. Visit us at 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000 for more information.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to be discussing International Youth Day, which is on Wednesday, the 12th of August, this coming Wednesday. And that discussion is going to take place with Miss Shireen Barnes, who is the Department of Children and Family Services, Youth Services social worker. Also on the line with us, Miss Marilyn Innes, who is also a youth services social worker, and Miss Christine Miller, who's the manager of youth services. Ladies, good morning. Welcome to For the Record, and please introduce yourselves to our audience.
Good morning to you all and to your listeners. I am Christine Miller. I am the manager for the youth services team in the Department of Children and Family Services.
Okay, and
okay, and this is Shireen Barnes, the social worker with Children and Family Services.
Good morning, everyone. This is Marilyn Innes, social worker within the Department of Youth, within the Department of Children and Family Services.
Okay. Good morning to you all as well. Good to have you. Tell our listening and viewing audience about International Youth Day and what will take place in the Cayman Islands. If you want to give us a history of International Youth Day, you have the mic. So anything that you want to, that you want to, and we'll start with Miss Christine Miller.
Thank you very much, and we're very grateful for the opportunity to inform our community about International Youth Day. This year's theme is Youth Engagement for Global Action.
Okay.
And by engagement, we mean giving young people opportunities to contribute to their communities, to be active, and to serve. This year, United Nations are specifically looking at how youth engage in the community level, national level, as well as the global level on issues that will impact on their future.
Okay, and any of the other two persons want to add to that in any way?
Yes, I would like to.
Go right ahead.
The United Nations Assembly of 1999, they declared August 12th as International Youth Day, which was first celebrated in the year 2000. This day can be observed with conferences, sporting events, concerts, and volunteer projects, amongst others. International Youth Day gives an opportunity to celebrate and mainstream young people's voices, actions, and initiatives, as well as their meaningful, universal, and equitable engagement. It also promotes ways to engage them in becoming more actively involved in making positive contributions to their communities. We, the Department of Children and Family Services, the Youth Services team, have decided to focus on the environment and the activity of cleaning the beach and the shoreline. It is a great way of teaching the young people to take care of their environment. As we can all agree, that positively impacting the environment is an important global issue right now.
Okay. Can you tell us some more about the Department of Children and Family Services and the work that is being done? And certainly the focus on the environment is extremely, extremely important now, maybe even more so with the situation with COVID-19, the opportunity, we see some relief now because of the downturn in tourism, the opportunity for us to look at our environment, our marine environment in particular, as well, and address some of the issues there. So tell us some more about what the Department of Children and Family Services are doing.
Ms. Sharon, you want to take that?
Okay. Well, DCFS carries out its mandate through 6 teams. We have the MASH team, that is our first responders. We have the adoption and foster care team, and they are always seeking new foster parents. So listeners out there who might be interested, we would welcome your applications. We also have the elderly services team and the family team, the community service, the community development team, and we are the youth team. So each particular team carries out a different aspect of our work, all geared of improving the lives of our clients. For the youth team, we specifically work with children who are within the justice system or children who are at risk of entering the justice system. So we provide services to them to divert them from a life of offending and to offer them opportunities for growth and development in areas that they might need that help in. As it relates to this International Youth Day, I think it's very imperative that we observe the day in the Cayman Islands because we don't want the Cayman youth to be left behind. It's an international day, so it's been celebrated and observed all over the world. I want to talk a little bit about our sponsors and the persons that will be joining us on the day on Wednesday.
Sure, go right ahead.
Right. So we have partners within the government, and we have community partners, and we have sponsors. So our project is really compact. Within the government, we have the Youth Services Unit through Mr. James Miles. He and the ambassadors are assisting us. We have Mr. Simon Miller from the National Drug Council, who is also assisting us with this project. And we have the Environmental Health Department, and they are giving us some of the things we need, equipment. So we're very grateful to them. In the community, we have the Pathfinders Club, which is out of the Adventist Church, and they're real troopers. We can call on them to assist us. And also the Boys to Men program, which operates out of the John Gray High School, which is led by Mr. Christopher Murray. They're on board to help us as well. As for our sponsors, we are so grateful. We have buses taking the youth up to East End. We chose East End because of its location, and apparently it has a lot of debris. And it's also a nice opportunity to drive for the youth to see the other side of the island sometimes. And of course, they were in recent restrictions, so they probably feel so good taking that long drive. And they'll be together and perhaps seeing some of their friends. Of course, we're observing all the safety protocols. Everybody will be wearing a mask, and we'll also have the opportunity to social distance because we'll be outdoors. So we really have a good day planned for them. So to get us there, we're getting the help of Miss Dr. Kenrick Webster of Webster Stores, and we can always depend on him. I've never known of him to say no when DCFS comes knocking, and we're so grateful for that. And this year now we have Tucker, Mr. Ron Hansgrave of Tucker Restaurant in East End. I mean, his generosity is like, we're very, very pleased with it. He is providing the lunch for us, and he's going to be setting up a section in his restaurant for us. Then he has given us permission to tour the Parrot Sanctuary, which we think it's going to be such an exciting experience for the young people because I think it's fairly new on island, and it has different type of wildlife that the young people can be exposed to. And it also ties into what we're trying to teach them, protecting the environment, protecting the wildlife, focusing on the ecosystem, preserving that for themselves and for the future.
Okay, I think you've addressed the challenges that you will have in terms of the protocols that have to be observed because of the global pandemic. Does anyone else wish to add to that in terms of the challenges? And also, and of course we'll be coming back after the headline news at 9 o'clock, but if someone could speak to things about what the wider community can do to mark this day and to help to make this day a success as well. You've already spoken about some of your sponsors, Tuka. You've spoken about Dr. Kenrick Webster as well. What can others do to assist if they so wish?
Well, we have also invited the social clubs within our community to engage their young people to decide on a project that they would want to do, and we ask them to send us, photographs and so on, so we can also place that on our website. So we have invited the social clubs to be a part of this as well.
Okay, and the age, is there an age range in terms of those young persons who are allowed to participate?
Well, because we're the youth services team, we focus mainly on teenagers. So they are between the ages of 13 and 17, would be our main focus group. But we have children who are already registered to attend this. So we're not doing a general call to the public. We just wanted to highlight what we were doing on the day and to encourage others to perhaps observe the day in their own way as well.
Okay. So let's go over again the activities. We know that the date is the Wednesday, the 12th of August. Your theme, the theme that you have chosen. Let's repeat that for our listening and viewing audience. And if people want to participate, how they can go about doing so. We still have about 4 minutes left before we go to our break.
Okay. Well, Ms. Ryan?
Ms. Marlene, you want to do that?
Okay, is Miss Miller there? Christine Miller still there? I think she.
The theme is youth engagement for global action. And this year we're looking at focusing at the community level, looking at the environment. While we're informing the public, the community about the day, the observance of the day, we're basically just sending out the information and encouraging them to look at projects of their own, not to come out to be with us because we have a specific number that we're dealing with, but we are encouraging them to look at projects that they can engage in, whether it's at their own family level or within their social clubs or churches, and certainly to send photographs to us so that we're aware of what others have been doing in recognition of the day.
Okay, so for instance, like you have many churches that have their own youth groups, youth organizations. So you're encouraging them to take this up as well. Now, is this a broad request to them, or have you approached any of them individually in this regard?
No, we have not really approached any particular church as such, apart from the pathfinders who will be joining us. We're just sending a broad invitation to communities, to the different youth clubs and social clubs to say, hey, this is what is happening on the 12th. It is a day we plan to recognize every year moving forward. And so this year with the theme being youth engagement for global action, we're encouraging the different social clubs to get their youth out, to be active, to look at a project, something that will benefit the community and is a learning for them at the same time.
Okay. Can I say something quickly before we go?
Go ahead.
Yes, so we just want to mention the point again about the pandemic. The world is still really in the grips of this pandemic, but Cayman is really in an enviable position of having zero infections. So we feel really fortunate to be able to observe the day in a safe way and to gather and provide a fun and educational experience to the children. Why it is important for us to mark this day, a large proportion of the population are young people. They are really the next generation of adults. Everybody can agree. And so we must empower them to take on the future. We must empower them to have value and interest in their surroundings and what's happening in their community. The uniqueness of the ecosystem of the Cayman Islands need to be known to the young people so they can preserve it as they become adults and they become in positions of power themselves or become decision makers themselves.
Yes.
It's important for the Cayman youth to observe this day because they deserve to be celebrated. They deserve to have their voices be heard, and their participation is important for all of us.
Okay. I'm going to ask you three ladies to please stay on the line. We're going to be very quick for headline news because I want to come back, want to give you all an opportunity for some final comments as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported 191 COVID-19 test results on Friday. All came back negative. The number of antibody tests that have been conducted is 2,096, with 54 positives. French police say face masks will be required at busy tourist sites in over 100 streets in Paris as infections continue to rise. Gyms, swimming pools, leisure centers, and play centers have reopened in the latest stage of lockdown easing in Wales. Australia has recorded its deadliest day of the coronavirus pandemic, although new infections are falling. A BBC investigation reveals that some staff in Ghana's hospitals have been selling vital PPE for personal profit. The United States has passed 5 million cases, while Brazil has had more than 100,000 deaths linked to COVID-19. However, New Zealand has passed 100 days without a local infection and plans to open a travel bubble with the Cook Islands. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have on the phone lines with us this morning Miss Christine Miller, who is the manager of the Youth Services. We also have, and that's at the Department of Children and Family Services. We have Miss Shireen Barnes, who is a youth service social worker at the Department of Children and Family Services, and Miss Marilyn Innes, who is also a social worker. We're talking about International Youth Day this coming Wednesday, the 12th of August. They have events planned for that day. You have heard them speak about the fact that they're observing all of the protocols as far as COVID-19 is concerned, and I am sure the fact that we have gone so many days, consecutive days now, without any positives will give a great measure of assurance to parents and guardians of children who will be participating that the environment in the Cayman Islands is pretty safe as well. Ladies, would you agree with that?
That is true. Yes, certainly.
Okay. So I want to give you all an opportunity to recap on what was said, any reassurances, and if you want to repeat some of those thank yous to the sponsors, and if others are interested in sponsoring, not necessarily this year, but future events, tell them how they can go about doing that as well. Because like you said, our young people, they are the future of these islands, and pointing them in the right direction now, teaching them about our environment, the respect that we have to have for our environment. The importance of our environment is really, really so important.
Well, I'd like to start by repeating our appreciation to our sponsors, Dr. Webster for transportation, Tucker Restaurant for providing refreshments, to Pathfinders, the Seventh-day Adventist group in Savannah, to Boys to Men, to National Drug Council as well, and certainly to within our own colleagues within the department who will be a part of this. And I should also highlight our Community Development Officer, Ms. Delmira Barden, who is the Community Development Officer for Eastern, for her involvement in this, as well as the other Community Development Officers who will be coming out to give some support with this as well.
Okay, so that was Ms. Miller. We'd like to hear from Ms. Barnes and then Ms. Innes.
Okay, so the department have on our calendar for the year different public relations activities. So in May we have our Child Month, and it's a full month long of celebrations and activities highlighting children and their work. And in October we have the Older Persons Month. So we also have the International Children's Day in November, and now we are taking on International Youth Day in August. So throughout the year, the department will have different activities that we do that will heavily involve the public and seek the public support and seek support and sponsorship from interested and well-thinking organizations. So at any point in time, any of those individuals could contact us and try to partner with us on these very meaningful and impactful activities that we're doing with the children. So that will encourage that. So thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to highlight this activity that we're doing for the children or for the young people, and we hope to have this opportunity in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, as well. And we still have Ms. Innes.
As we are highlighting the activity, we would like to invite families to pay attention to their young people by having a game night or movie or dinner as an activity that will allow the youth to feel included and to extent to feel heard.
Okay. Ladies, I want to thank you for providing this information, for us, and I also want to thank you for the work that you do with our children and family services, especially the youth, our youth. We know, sometimes, other professions, it becomes a thankless job where you work hard, and sometimes people don't necessarily appreciate what you do, challenges that you face as well. But we want to thank you for working with our youth, for your dedication, and we wish you God's blessing and Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us and for giving us this opportunity.
Okay. We're going to take a commercial break now. When we return, where do you get that from? When we return, we will have our phone lines open, but we will make a call to some of our regular contributors as well to get some input from them. I'm constantly checking my phone, my emails here, hoping that I can see where that bill has been published, hopefully before we go off there, so that we can discuss that as well. Please stay tuned, folks. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
This coming Saturday, August 15th, tune into CIG TV at 4 p.m. for part 2 of a virtual concert showcasing gold and silver medalists from the 2020 National Children's Festival of the Arts, presented by the Department of Education Services. Witness performances from some of Cayman's most exceptional young talent in music, dance, and the spoken word. Follow them at Education Cayman on Instagram and Facebook for updates. Tune in to CIG TV or log on to CIG TV YouTube Saturday, August 15th at 4 p.m. for part 2 of the 2020 National Children's Festival of the Arts Showcase.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. So we want to wish all of the youth people at the Department of Children and Family Services a happy International Youth Day on Wednesday. So if you're in East End and you see an activity up there, if they're going to be cleaning the beaches and stuff, but there is a possibility that you may see them on the roads as well. We want to urge you, if you're driving in that area, please be extremely cautious. Drive carefully. You don't want to put any of our young people at risk if they're, on the road there. And again, Dr. Kenrick Webster, want to extend thanks to him. Always there whenever he's needed. Really, really dedicated to assisting people in the Cayman Islands when it comes to transport that I know about. And I'm sure that he's probably active in other respects as well. Trying to see if we have. You had a caller, but that caller has hung up. We do have a WhatsApp number. Yes, WhatsApp. Let's read this. This one says, "Good morning, Mr. Connor. Could you please announce this? If it is at all possible, try to send it to the bulletin board." But it is bounced back. It says, okay. There's a flyer, and it says that if mothers couldn't get their children there this morning, they can take them tomorrow morning, and it has to do with the camp. There's 17th to the 21st of August, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., boys and girls ages 4 to 16. And this Bordentown, is this the Georgetown Primary School playing field? Registration, first day of camp. All participants must be registered. Come early to register. If you want any additional information on this football camp, you contact the camp technical director on 925-7296 or FC International 926-1993. So a camp that is taking place 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. from the 17th to the 21st of August. FC International and Georgetown Primary School, it will take place. Contact details, the camp technical director, 925-7296. FC International's number, 926-1993. Again, here's an opportunity for your young ones to participate in this football camp. Urge you to take advantage of it. And if you need, there's a correction that they have sent me as well. Say that it is not this morning. The camp is next week. Right, exactly, yeah. Camp takes place next week, the 17th. From the 17th until the 21st. And I would imagine that if you have difficulty taking your child to the camp, getting your child there as well, by contacting these numbers, they can give you advice, or they may be able to assist you as well. And I'm going to give you those numbers one more time, because after that we're going to a commercial break as well. So you can contact the technical director, 925-7296, or FC International, 926-1993. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. 122 Industrial Way, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers and stay prepared. 949-2511. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
It's the Tempur-Pedic and Sealy Summer of Sleep mattress sale. On now at Brand Source Home Gallery. Tempur Adapt Hybrid Queen mattress now just $19.99. Save $500 on all Tempur Breeze mattresses. Save $200 on all Sealy Hybrid mattresses. Check out Brand Source Home Gallery's wide selection of Tempur-Pedic and Sealy mattresses and enjoy savings during the Summer of Sleep sale. On now at Brand Source Home Gallery. Visit us at 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000 for more information.
Attention parents and guardians. The upcoming school year will begin on August 26. Registrations are ongoing. Any child who's 5 years old by August 31st must be enrolled in an approved educational program, including government, private, or homeschooling. Detailed student registration guidelines and forms are available at the Department of Education Services website at schools.edu.ky or by emailing edu.registration@gov.ky.
You can also visit our Facebook page at Education Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Any calls on the line, Miss Susan? Do we have any callers? No callers? I'm going to share another article with you from the Tradewinds newspaper. This one is timely as well. And this is the 11th of August, 1966. And the 11th of August in 1966 was on a Thursday as well. So the article, the editorial reads, paved roads in these islands are deteriorating very rapidly. This is aggravated particularly in some areas by the heavy equipment of the airport contractors. But in all areas, increased traffic alone is responsible. All can see that the coating of asphalt originally placed on the roads was very thin, and it is now breaking up from an increased traffic after these few years of weathering. I'm going to stop there for a second. So in 1966, they were complaining that the asphalt was too thin. I don't know if any of you recall 1992. That was the time I remember. I remember passing this remark that the government had paved their way out of office instead of paving their way into office. Do many of you recall the roads where some areas the asphalt was something like almost 6 inches thick on the roads in Spot Street area, and there it was treacherous. If you were riding a bike or something and you went off the edge of the asphalt, it was so thick. So in 1966, they were complaining that it was too thin. 1992, the government of the day paved their way out of office by making the asphalt too thick. They figured that by paving the roads, that would get them back into office. Why is it that politicians always think that when it comes to campaign time, they always talk about youth facility, sporting facility, training schools, paving the roads, new classrooms, all of these promises that many of them can't deliver on. But the sour part of it is that the electorate, they suck it all up. They accept it. They believe it. It's going to be interesting to see this campaign, what the promises are going to be made. Let's see when this new domestic partnership bill comes into existence, what your candidates will promise you that if they are elected, what they will do. Because one of the things that they cannot promise you, and if they do try to promise you that, challenge them on it, they will not be able to change that law unless we take the great leap forward, which many of you still are not mentally prepared for. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. How are you, Madam Speaker?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. You hear me here ratting and raving?
Well, let me say this. I have just a very few comments to make.
Uh-huh.
I am not going to argue with the governor's powers because we know the Constitution gives him the power to give himself power if he doesn't have the power. So I am not going to argue on that question at all. But I'm going to raise a few points. The Constitution that we have today was taken to the House in December, and in the dead of the night, changes were made to it. Supposedly, before Boris Johnson's election, it had to be decided. It was sent to England, and I have heard no more about it. I don't know what the changes were, and I don't know whether the Constitution has come back with those changes. But I know there was talk at that time that they were going to try to limit the powers of the governor, which obviously did not happen. However, we now have what we call the Domestic Partnership Bill and or law, and the governor is going to use his powers to pass this law. Whether we want it or not, that's immaterial. I'm not going to argue the religious side of it, nor I am going to argue the politician side of it.
Okay.
We have 19 politicians, including the premier, and we have yet to hear the first public meeting. You own a television station, you own a radio station. I have yet to hear the first public discussion on the bill. The only discussion on the bill took place in the Parliament when the bill was brought to the floor of the House, and the premier, to get all of his little chickens in the House, promised them that they could vote their conscience. He obviously didn't expect them to.
What would a public discussion on the bill achieve, in your view?
It would have given the public the knowledge of what the contents of the bill is. It doesn't matter if I agree with the bill or disagree with the bill, but it is nice to know what the bill says.
Got you.
You know, I had, when I was at teaching at the high school, I found out that there were children who did not know that the traffic law said that if they drove a car, they would not be able to get a license till they were 18 years of age. They had no knowledge of it, right? Nobody had told them. The community hadn't told them. Their parents hadn't told them. Nobody had told them, only when they ended up going to court. But going back to this bill, there is a section in that bill that I seriously question, and that is a section that allows 16-year-olds to enter into domestic partnerships. A 16-year-old is in your house. It is very unlikely that they're out there in an apartment by themselves, earning a living and paying for their own lunch.
Is that with or without the permission of the parent?
Yes, but why? If not only without the permission of the parents, but if your parents don't give the permission, the child has the right to take the parent to court and have the court decide whether they can do this or not do this. I take serious umbrage at that situation. It also says, it goes on if you're 18 years and over. And there's the governor has used their names, the premier has used their name, everybody has used their names. Chantal Day and her partner, where their rights have been infringed upon, and therefore we need to have this domestic partnership bill to ensure that their rights are protected. All right, they're adults. But a 16-year-old is not an adult. By any means that you could think about, they're not an adult. They're in your house.
Do we have similar provisions in the marriage law for 16-year-olds?
I don't know because I haven't read the marriage law recently.
I believe there are provisions in there with the consent of the parent, and I believe that the argument that would be used in inserting it into this bill is that if you're giving same-sex couples the equivalent of what married couples have, then that would be consistent with the marriage law.
I don't have to agree with that. Let me say that. I don't have to agree that my 16-year-old in my house can come to me, still in school, at 16, that's where they're supposed to be. I'm still buying lunch for them. I'm still buying clothes for them. I'm still doing everything for that child, because at 16 they're a child, and come to me and say, I want your permission to form a domestic partnership with Mr. ABCD, whoever he might be, and however old he might be. That has not been stated in the.
But they can do it in the marriage law and
in the bill.
Yeah.
Well, I am talking about the domestic partnership bill. I'm not going to argue the marriage law now. But
the point, and I know you recognize what the point that I'm getting across is that this equivalence, the equivalence.
You're saying if it's there, it should be here too, or it could be here too.
Right.
That might be so. I am saying that it is included in this, and if the child or one of the partners, it doesn't have to be the child, can be the person they're forming the domestic partnership with, decides that they want to challenge that, they can go to the court, and the court can give consent for the union or the partnership, whatever they're going to call it, to take place between the 16-year-old and whoever this other person is. Not only that, but if you file a caveat on the matter, the judge can then turn around and make you pay the cost for everything. Okay? That's one part of it. When we're talking about doing something like this, we need to think about the repercussions on the community in which we live. Obviously, I don't think anyone is taking the idea that the community that we live in might not take very kindly to this, and maybe that's why the bill was not explained to the people. They have a list also in the bill of the laws which everybody has brushed by and has not done anything about informing the people, the laws that have to be changed to bring this in line with the bill. This domestic partnership bill requires that a review of the laws of the island should be undertaken as consequential amendments, which will be required in respect of many laws, including the evidence law, 2019 revision, the health insurance law, 2018 revision, the immigration transition law, 2018, the maintenance law, 1996 revision, the matrimonial causes law, 2005 revision, the mental health law, 2013, the national pensions law, 2012, and the penal code, 2019 revision. They are the ones they have named. I noticed missing from that list, since this is going to have such great impact on family life in the Cayman Islands, I noticed the children's law has not been mentioned, the adoption law has not been mentioned, and neither has the education law been mentioned. Everywhere else that this form of legislation has been brought in, it has had a serious impact on the education law, the education laws, and the education of children.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has mentioned this, and I think it is time for us to stop playing footsie-wootsy with this. I think it is time for the 19 legislators, including the Premier and the Governor, who is undertaken to bring this into being, although he says he's doing so reluctantly, for them to get out there and tell the Caymanian public, once and for all, okay, we're going to have this. This is what it is, the impact it is going to have on family life and on situations within this country. In this law, it allows you to go to be married, because they say you shouldn't use that word, to enter into a domestic partnership relationship on your deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
We need to understand that the impact this can have, doing this on wives and children from previous relationships, which seem to happen quite frequently here now. We need to tell the people the truth about what is going on. Never mind what England says we have to do. Never mind what the governor says he has to do. Never mind what the politicians has done. It is time for everybody to tell the people what they are doing and the impact it is going to have on Cayman society.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I don't understand why anyone would believe that, okay, so everybody's saying, oh, this is necessary, we've got to do what everybody else is doing. But nobody is saying what the impact is going to be on the society, and nobody is going through this bill. This thing has numerous clauses. The explanation of the bill, actually, which is attached to it, is actually longer than the bill itself, which I found kind of surprising, because the domestic partnership bill is only a few pages, but all the explanations that come before that is considerably long.
Okay. Madam Speaker, I'm going to ask you to hold on there. We're going to take a commercial break. Stay on the line. When we return, we're going to continue our conversation with you. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. 122 Industrial Way, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers and stay prepared. 949-2511. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Register now for the 3rd Annual Chamber of Commerce Economic Forum, taking place online on Friday, August 14th. This year's theme, Rebuilding a Better Cayman, will tackle the effects the COVID-19 pandemic has had on the local and regional economy and how the private and public sectors can work together to create a more durable and more sustainable future. Don't miss out. Visit caymanchamber.ky to register for a full day or half day today. Corporate ticket bundles available. In partnership with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. The forum is made possible thanks to sponsors CUC, DART, Kensington Management Group, Cayman Enterprise City, and Hurley's Media.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have a former Speaker of our Legislative Assembly on the line with us, the Honourable Mary Lawrence. Madam Speaker, go right ahead.
Good morning again. For the record, as Steve called you. Actually, this is the first time, and this again, we don't know our history, so we don't follow through on these things.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time in the history of the Cayman Islands that I have been able to determine that the governor has taken it upon himself to pass legislation for us.
Mm-hmm.
We have had legislation passed for us before by order in council
Mm-hmm.
from England. That has happened before on a couple of occasions.
Mm-hmm.
We have gone to the wire in some arguments back and forth with England about different things. But this is opening, and this is another area that I think we need to be acutely aware of. The governor is now going to pass legislation, not just this piece of legislation. No. All those laws that I read out that has to be changed are being brought in simultaneously and will be passed simultaneously by the government. So it's not one piece of legislation that is being passed. It is many pieces of legislation. And like I said, I know of at least 3 pieces that they're going to have to amend to bring in line still that they haven't mentioned in this document.
Madam Speaker, do you think that the reason why the governor is going to amend all of these legislation, because it would almost be foolhardy to send any amendments down to the Legislative Assembly when they have already rejected the primary piece of legislation?
I think he needs to sit down and talk to them about that. There hasn't been any dialogue, from what I can understand, or very little dialogue between the government, and that includes the governor and the cabinet, and the legislators in the House. There has been very little dialogue on all of this. But my concern is the precedent that is being set. One of the things that we have had to fight dearly for in this country is the financial industry. Dearly. We have had to go to the Legislative Assembly in the dead of night and pass legislation because somebody decided that we didn't have one eye dotted, or we had written it in a slant and it should have been written straight, okay? That has happened to us repeatedly up until here recently, when the House had to meet by Zoom to pass all of this legislation that was required of us. Once the governor this road has been opened, don't forget that in courts of law, when a precedent is set not just for that particular item, but for any item after that. And that opens the door for the governor to move. And don't tell me it won't happen, and don't tell me it can't happen. You might say it won't, but it can. It can. Against the financial industry with legislation that the Parliament has rejected.
But isn't that option there still with Section 125?
Just for the record, whatever option is there, when it is exercised, it becomes a precedent.
Right. But the reason that they have it there is to have that ability to exercise it. So they have done that. Madam Speaker, shouldn't we be talking more about whether the Constitution that we have, whether or not that is the one that the Cayman Islands need at this time, and not want? Notice I use the word that we need at this point in time. If we have these sorts of concerns about the governor's powers and abilities.
I agree with that, but you see, I agree that the changes need to be made to the Constitution. I don't have any problem with that. But what I am saying is, from what I understand, the changes that were sent to England in December is still there 8 months later. And one of those changes was, as I understand it, because I have not seen the changes, one of those changes that I understand it was to reduce the powers of the governor.
Removal of Section 81, which I don't believe is going to happen now. Again, it's not going to happen.
Well, of course it's not going to happen, but why hasn't it happened in 8 months? Any other time a constitution has been brought to this country or taken from this country and sent to England after it has been approved either by the people or by the Legislative Assembly, it's back in a matter of weeks. Why is this one taking 8 months? Because the things that were asked for in that December meeting of the Legislative Assembly are not things that Britain wishes to give us. Let's face the fact. This is where we're at. So where do we go from here? We need to open public dialogue on this subject. We don't need to be shoo-shooing around and deciding that Well, I'm not going to say none because somebody might not do this for me or somebody might. We don't need that kind of mindset in this country right now. We need to face the fact that if this country is going to progress, the people have to be educated in what their laws say, in what their constitution says, and it is incumbent upon the 19 people we elected to that house to do so. That's my feeling. I can go out there and I can say something, but I am just someone from the community. The people, the 19 legislators need to sit down. They need to. We now have this thing where instead of 6 districts, we got 19 little constituencies. You can call a little gathering under the mango tree down in Northwood or up on the bluff in East End or anywhere you want to have it. But call people together and talk about what the thing, the different items, the different restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
And
we can't blame COVID-19 for it now either, because we're.
Oh, COVID-19! Let me tell you something. COVID-19 showed us how they can do it. COVID-19 showed us how they can do it. The premier, the governor, the minister for health, the minister for tourism, and all of them, and all the little satellites, the doctors and the other people involved were given an opportunity to go on the air and talk to the Caymanian people on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And I believe the success of the COVID-19 talk is evident in the numbers that we have in this country, because people were made aware of what could happen. Didn't mean it was going to happen, but what could happen, what the consequences were if they did certain things. They were educated in the subject, something that many other countries fail to do. Mm-hmm. And I take my hat off to the premier on that situation. He did make an effort to inform the people. In fact, when we go back to the constitution we have now, they made the great. I have numerous booklets, beautiful, pretty ones, that were published leading up to that constitution, to that to the introduction of that constitution to the Cayman Islands. The churches were included in the all the debates. They took them to London with them to put forward their views, and all of the things that are written into it that people were told, and I don't think if it would have been accepted otherwise, but people were told that these items that they were including in the Constitution, whether it was in the preliminary chapters of it or in the Bill of Rights or whatever it might have been, that these things were hard and fast, and therefore the people could accept this Constitution as being a Constitution they wanted. You know, this is, sometimes I wonder, had they been totally, maybe the word is not honest, but forthright with the people regarding what was in the Constitution itself, rather than what they thought was in the Constitution, we might have had a different result. But we are now in the position where we have to decide what we're going to do and where we're going to go. We have a general election coming up. The House prorogues in March next year. Elections are in May.
Okay.
Of the House, the 19 members we have elected to that House, and we pay a salary to every year.
Madam Speaker, I'm going to ask you a question. If you, and this is only hypothetical, if you were a candidate or were to be a candidate in the upcoming elections, what would your platform be in relation to issues similar to this? What could you say to the electorate that you're trying to attract to remedy this situation like this?
Situation of the domestic partnership bill? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the bill or the bill, as well as the governor's ability to legislate for the Cayman Islands and the UK's ability to legislate.
Well, the governor's ability to legislate for the Cayman Islands, I think needs to be challenged. That is a part of our constitution that should be removed. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that.
But they have said They have said that the next step there, prepare yourself for independence, because that's the next step if you're going to remove that.
Well, nobody's challenged that, have they? The fact of the matter is that the governor, we know the governor has powers. We know that over the years of the passage of time, the governor has exercised his powers. He has done so on different ways. But this is the first time it has been exercised in introduction of legislation into the Cayman Islands. This is the first time. And my thing is this: when you do something like that, you have set a precedent. And we need to decide whether this is what we want going forward, in which case we don't need to go to the polls in March. We just might as well just walk down to his office, because we pay him too. His salary is paid from our treasury too.
Yes.
Just walk down to his office and say, "Sir, pass this." We don't need to go to the parliament to do that, because whatever parliament passed can be overridden. There is no reason, as far as I am concerned at this point, why there is not dialogue going on. Instead of this, I'm going to, like I said earlier, I'm going to give you consent to go play in the rain, and when you get wet, I'm going to beat you for getting wet. The fact of the matter is there is no reason for us to be in this great haste to pass this, to do this, without proper consultation with the legislators and with the people.
But they would argue that the legislators had an opportunity to do what was what they felt was necessary, and they failed to do so.
Yeah, but Mr. For the record, you know that there were many times in your life when you might have been in that position as a child or as a grown-up, and at the same time, because you're given another opportunity, you can sit down, you can, the member from North Side, as I understand it, at one point said that he had amendments he wanted to make to the bill. He wanted to bring to the bill. The bill didn't get to that stage in the House. They voted it down after the second stage, so it didn't go to the committee stage where amendments could have been made. I would be interested in hearing from Mr. Miller what amendments he had in mind, number one. And I think that all of the legislators, the governor should sit down with them. He is set himself up as the leader, but he is not. He is not the dictator. A leader, the first rule in a leader's manual is the art of compromise. And he needs to sit down. I don't care how much noise they make, shut the door. They don't have to let the public hear what they're saying to each other, or whether they call each other's names. They need to sit down. And 19 of them need to sit down with the governor and crash out the differences in this. And don't tell me it can't be done, because then they should not have taken up that position of being a legislator if they cannot sit down and discuss this.
And you don't think that it was clear, based on the debate that took place in the Legislative Assembly, the individual debate, it was quite clear what each member of the Legislative Assembly, what their position was on it, and they all seem hard, fast. None seem to be flexible in any way. Shouldn't the governor, and the FCO take notice of that and be cognizant of that as well? Because there is a section in the Constitution that talks about the legislature not being likely to pass legislation. So chances are, if the same legislation was sent back down to the Legislative Assembly, or an amended version of it, which an amended version of it could have more in it and could be more impactful than the original one?
Well, they're all very much ifs, but there has been no discussion. My thing is this: if they got together and this was the conclusion, yes, then of course the governor goes ahead and does what he wants to do. But the fact of the matter is there has been no discussion on it. There's been a lot of words, But discussion on the actual bill, section by section, never took place.
Yep, right.
Never took place.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where that's where the problem begins, because the public needs to know. And if the public might not find it palatable, we've had legislation passed before that we did not like. They might not find it palatable. They might not even agree with it. They might not. They might come out on your show and blast the governor and the government's kingdom coming back. But the fact remains, if they take the time to bring these issues out there where the people can see them, it is the biggest problem that we have had in this country, not just with this piece of legislation, over generations. Mm-hmm. The government feels that their position is secure and therefore they can do what they want. The opposition feels that they're taking a stance and therefore they can say what they want. The bottom line is we need to inform the public. We are now in the position, and I've said this to you before, we are now in the position where we have less access to the press than we have ever had in the history of this country in many a long year. Mm-hmm. Yep. We have one newspaper that comes out weekly. We have one that comes out 3 times a week. The government owns a radio station which they don't use to inform the public, except for the COVID-19 thing. They did use it then. We have a radio station which is not used to educate the people. Mm-hmm. Your talk show, and what's his name, Mr. Ebanks?
Sterling Dwayne, yeah, talk today.
Sterling Dwayne in the evening is the only 2 areas that that 2 avenues that the public has to let their voices be heard.
Madam Speaker, I'm going to put you on hold for a second because we have a second caller on the line, and we want to have him make his contribution, and we're going to keep you on the line just in case you want to comment or he may want to direct something to you as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. See, and your guests, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting, but
no. That was just a call in. We had the lines open, but this crosstalk will be good.
Thank you. Well, first I must say I'm very disappointed and disgusted, upset, and everything negative pertaining the attitude toward the bill that was refused in the Legislative Assembly last week or week before, whenever it was now. Mm-hmm. I don't see what's the real urgency, because within 1 week the governor, he stepped in and started putting down his orders. I've never seen anything going that fast in the Legislative Assembly or from government. And to say that it's out he would be putting it out today for review or whatever. If there's not going to be any debate on it, what is that? Just a formality, a false formality, or what?
No, I think that genuinely, whatever comments that come in, and if they feel that, of course, the decision will be his. But if you were to put some comments in, make some suggestions, those will be taken into consideration.
Well, he knows mine now, so I don't think there's much flexibility with that one.
Well, what I say this morning to people is that rather than just simply stating objections to it, that if there are parts of it that you could live with but object to other parts, then that should be pointed out as well.
Thank you. I still feel that this should have been taken to a referendum. If the majority decided that they want it, then I would have to shut my mouth up, I suppose. But until then, I do not agree with what's been happening pertaining this. It was such a strong opposition to this bill. Even though government might have played their part in the right way, they still saw that 3 of their members were against it and were allowed to vote their conscience, which I appreciate the fact that was done. I'm not sure what can be done other than go to a referendum, and I don't know why we have to be so upset about 2 individuals that has made this uproar in the country, want to change our whole lifestyle for the 60,000 people that are here overnight, and hardly given any opportunity for the individuals to object, or not only the LA members, but the public at large.
Mm-hmm.
It's been too secretive what's been done about this, and I do not believe that UK is pushing us as fast as they might be portraying or indicating. And I feel we should take a step back and look at this thing and put this to referendum, which could go in May at no hardly any additional cost to government to do it.
But it would have to be a people's initiated referendum for it to be binding on the government. And the question there would be also, Mr. Tommy, if at the end of the day the referendum were to pass in favor of not having a domestic partnership bill, it still does not remove the fact that either Section 81 or Section 125 of the Constitution still remains in the hands of the UK to do whatever they want.
Well, I can understand their reason for having that there, because if we were a bunch of crazy people and wanted to upset the whole island unnecessarily, then they should have the opportunity to step in and try to control it. But that's not the case, and that's not the case in this issue. And I really feel that they're overlooking the will of the people and trying to force something on the people that the majority, I'm positive, do not want to have. And I don't think we should be bending to this one or two people that try to throw a wrench in the gear to get their desires fulfilled in such an ungodly situation. I realize there's a lot of people supporting them nowadays that I didn't know anything about before. It must have been in closets or something about you never heard them or saw them before. And I wouldn't say I don't care, but I can accept something individuals want to do in their own closets or whatever. They're not on the street, but to see people on the street, and this is only the thin edge of the wedge. Once this is done, you'll see more amendments coming up, giving them more rights all over the place. And tell me, why does 4- and 6-year-old children need to know anything about sex whatsoever, much less the ungodly, ungodly, I should say, nasty way of teaching children. And I've seen instances where the parents could not even object to the teacher doing this. The teachers are compelled to do it. I don't know who's behind all of this rascality, I should say.
Okay. Mr. Tommy, I want to thank you very much for that. Sorry I have to cut you off there. I just want to give Madam Speaker, because we have about 2 minutes left, I want to give her an opportunity for some closing comments. And I'm sure that on Wednesday, I'm sure that Mr. Miller, if he's on island, will be in here as well, and we will have more opportunities to discuss this as well. Madam Speaker, back to you very quickly.
Well, like I have stated, I take exception to the clause which allows 16-year-olds to enter into these domestic partnership relationships. They're still in school. They're still in my house or your house, or wherever they are. They're a part of somebody's family, and I take exception to that. And I also feel that when that child can take, or their partner, whoever their partner is supposed to be, can take the parents to court, and the court can overrule the authority of the parents over that child and allow this to take place. I feel that should not have been included in this law. Now, there are those who want to say differently. You quoted the matrimonial law. I don't know what the matrimonial law says, but this to me is what happens the morning after this domestic partnership takes place. The child goes back to school. What is our teachers going to be trained to cope with these situations? And like I said, the education law has not been mentioned in that legislation that has to be revised. But I know that is coming, because everywhere this type of legislation has taken place, the education law has to be amended and then revised to match it. You're going to have the adoptions law the same way, the children's law the same way. Any law related to family life is going to have to be amended to include the tenants of this particular bill in it.
Okay, Madam Speaker, I want to thank you. Thank you very much.
I also, before I finish, I am going to throw the challenge down this morning to the governor and the 19 legislators. Like I said, they're all paid from the Cayman Islands Treasury. To come together and find an amicable solution. If they want to go back to if they can work out something where they go back to the house, God bless them. But they should not leave the Cayman public hanging in space and don't know what is happening and when it is going to happen. The hatchet will fall when the governor brings all this into effect on September the 1st, but nobody, the Cayman public, will not know what has taken place.
Okay, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. We have to go. Sorry, I have to interrupt you there, but we have to go. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Mikes at 12:15 for Talk Today. And we, as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands. Looking forward to that bill to see exactly what it is, because more discussion will take place on Wednesday if MLA Mr. Miller is here, and if he isn't here, discussion will still continue.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good